$2 billion. P. Diddy claims Jay Z owes him that. Not 2 million, no royalty check was missed, 2 billion. The worst part is that when Diddy eventually spoke, he didn't say anything as startling as that number. You see, this is more than just a financial conflict. It's a full-fledged tale of betrayal between two of the most influential hip-hop moguls ever. And everything blew up in court. Let's retreat. Diddy remained silent for years as everything around him collapsed. Lawsuits were piling up. Federal agents searched his properties. Social media, gossip websites, and headlines all dragged his name. Every narrative is more damaging than the one before it. In front of everyone, the empire that had once made him a billionaire began to fall apart. However, during it all, he remained silent. Diddy's words up until this point weren't the result of an emotional breakdown. It was venomous, cold, and calculating. He did not weep. He didn't say sorry. He specifically blamed Jay Z, the one person who everyone believed was untouchable. And the business was rocked by his remarks. Diddy claimed that Jay Z owed him more than simply money. In order to avoid paying out $2 billion, he set him up, fed him to the wolves, and planned the fall of his entire enterprise. This isn't merely rumors, so let's discuss numbers now. Diddy was a millionaire at his height, but his spirits company particularly. Sarek and Delio accounted for around 70% of his wealth. His collaboration with one of the world's largest liquor businesses, Diageo, was groundbreaking. He did more than only promote the brand. In 2007, he took on a 50/50 profit-sharing arrangement, which was unprecedented at the time, and stepped in. As creative director and brand manager. Time, he created a multi-million-case enterprise out of a dormant label. The cash was flooding in, then the collapse occurred. From over $1 billion to about $300 million, his net worth fell precipitously. The Spirits portfolio has dropped by over $500 million. Cash reserves are depleted. Real estate is down. Everything was gushing blood. People initially thought that the litigation and negative publicity were to blame. However, Diddy is now claiming that it was sabotage rather than just bad luck. The outlandish assertion is as follows. Diddy thinks Jay Z's refusal to pay him was the reason Diageo abruptly turned against him and his entire company began to fail. He claims that Jay Z, who has connections and power throughout corporate America, orchestrated events behind the scenes to undermine Diddy's reputation, sever his alliances, and ensure his demise prior to that enormous payment never made it to
his hands. Diddy didn't stop there either.
He revealed an even more shocking revelation. He claims that Jay Z has been tampering with the game for many years. He moved silently, closed the rear doors quietly, and always came out clean while those around him fell. He raised the issue no one else dared to ask, pointing to Jay Z's net worth's increase from $450 million in 2011 to over $2 billion, $500 million today. When everyone else was falling, how did he climb so quickly? Diddy said it's because Jay Z built the empire using the money, deals, and labor of others, including himself. And instead of paying up when it came time to split the profits, Jay Z decided to defend himself. It all sounds like a movie storyline. Once partners, two titans of music are now adversaries in the legal system. What Diddy claims to have next, however, makes it much more captivating. Emails, contracts, proof, and even Evan recordings. And Jay Z's silence is odd if that's the case. It is a calculated move. This feud didn't just break out in the courtroom. The internet exploded. Within hours, a single video of Diddy berating Jay Z received millions of views. Conspiracy theories erupted on Twitter. Every old photo, statement, and business transaction between the two was examined in Reddit communities. People began making connections as if it were a crime story. They emphasized how, in contrast to his friends Dame Dash and Kanye, Jay Z consistently avoided making untidy headlines. Did he start the fire, or was it just luck? Shouts replaced whispers. Moments that didn't seem significant previously were recalled by fans. Jay Z avoids inquiries about former business partners, and Diddy avoids some interviews. The conflict between them has reportedly been simmering for years, ever since Jay Z's expanding economic ventures began to conflict with Diddy's Spirits empire. And others weren't so ready to brush it off once Diddy said that Jay Z planned his demise. One of the most terrifying aspects was Diddy's assertion that Jay Z not only betrayed him, but also sacrificed him. He claimed that Jay Z made sure Diddy was the one pulled into the spotlight because he knew the walls were closing in. Raids, lawsuits, and explosive accusations. Diddy implied that nothing happened by accident. He portrayed Jay Z as a genius who maintained his sobriety by sullying others, someone who worked behind the scenes like a puppeteer, keeping his hands clean while others suffered. Because it fit with the pre-existing perception of Jay Z as the chess player, strategist, and someone who always looked to be 5 steps ahead. That story struck a deep chord. What if, however, he wasn't simply ahead? What would happen if he placed? Pitfalls? The discussion of the receipts followed. He claimed to be able to prove everything. He said that he had secret profit splits, unfulfilled contracts, and bank transactions that abruptly halted. He alluded to direct correspondence, incriminating emails, and covert recordings that demonstrated Jay Z's non-payment. It wouldn't only be embarrassing if even some of that were true. It would be disastrous. Businesses became anxious. Jay Z is more than simply a rapper these days. He has ties to the NFL, big investment firms, billion-dollar partnerships, and well-known businesses. Furthermore, none of those businesses wish to be linked to a scandal. It isn't about loyalty at that level, so if Diddy provides evidence, those businesses might withdraw overnight. It has to do with appearance. Additionally, nobody wants to be associated with a mogul who is suspected of stealing and treachery of that magnitude. Jay Z remained silent in the meanwhile. Nothing, no interview, no Instagram post, no press release. Furthermore, the silence simply made matters worse. The charges grew louder the longer he remained silent. Because wouldn't Jay Z expose Diddy if he was lying? Wouldn't he shut everything down and provide his own receipts? Rather, according to sources, Jay Z has withdrawn from forthcoming events, tightened his circle, canceled public appearances, and gone silent. According to some insiders, he's keeping an eye on everything from behind the scenes and planning his next course of action. Others, however, claim that he is merely hoping it goes away before any significant harm is done. In any case, the harm is getting worse. Diddy isn't going to back down. According to insiders, he is prepared to release records if necessary, and his attorneys are apparently getting ready to file official claims. What began as whispers in the courtroom is now beginning to resemble a full-fledged conflict. Furthermore, the boundary is not just established between two men. It divided the whole sector in half. Perception has always been the foundation of Jay Z's enterprise. The Moguls' movements, the immaculate image, and the subdued power. In the room, he wasn't the loudest person. Everyone knew that he was quietly accumulating wins while keeping an eye on everything from the corner. However, that image is now crumbling, not because of trolls or tabloids, but because the guy closest to him simply struck a match and challenged everyone to see it burn. Jay Z wasn't the only person Diddy accused of betraying him. He charged him with high-level fraud, manipulation, and theft. A man who paved the way for his success by treading on the very individuals who helped him get there, rather than relying only on talent or hard work. And he allegedly removed those individuals from the equation when they started to pose a threat. Clean, cold, and final. Diddy's statements carry strategic as well as emotional weight. He is aware that the industry is based on leverage, legacy, and loyalty. Furthermore, if Jay Z's legacy was founded on backdoor betrayals and broken deals, don't only hurt him, it breaks the whole narrative. They've sold us the billion-dollar label, the accolades, the collaborations. It all begins to resemble a house of cards. Some claim that Diddy is only acting out of desperation in an attempt to protect himself. Others, particularly those who have witnessed the decades-long evolution of hip-hop, claim that this feels different. They claim that Diddy is threatening with intent and purpose rather than just talking. Like a man who has been holding back on sharing what he knows for years. And he's finally going for the jugular now that he has nothing left to lose. Suddenly, even musicians who formerly praised Jay Z as a mentor have stopped talking. Nobody is leaping to his support. Not Beyonce, not corporate partners, not even members of Roc Nation. People are becoming uneasy due to the silence coming from his camp. from his camp. Where's the denial if this is all a lie? Where's the indignation, the news conference? Rather, it seems as though everyone is anticipating the next surprise. Because it wouldn't simply ruin a deal if Diddy revealed actual proof. It dispels a myth, and Jay Z won't be the only one affected. Record labels, endorsement agreements, private equity firms, and international campaigns will all be affected. The NFL will not tolerate it. Giants that stream will fail. Even the musicians he represents might find their contracts in peril. That's the depth of this. It's more than just two men fighting. It concerns the trial of the basis of contemporary hip-hop commerce. Despite all of his scandals, Diddy now possesses something that Jay Z does not: the story. He has portrayed himself as the victim of betrayal, the one who gave up everything for loyalty, and the sacrificed one. Furthermore, even while that doesn't end, the lawsuits or the accusations against him do provide him with something he hasn't had in months. I feel sorry. All of a sudden, even his most critical critics are paying attention. Because it is too strong to overlook the possibility that Jay Z may have fed him to the wolves in order to safeguard his own empire. Jay Z's well-planned legacy may fall apart more quickly than anyone anticipated if the receipts stop coming in and Diddy isn't playing bluffs. The discovery that the king may have stolen his crown is the kind of tale that completely changes everything. In a society that values authenticity, the business is currently at a standstill, watching, waiting, and wondering if Diddy will indeed make the proof public. Will Jay Z retaliate? Or, like so many stories before it, will this all be forgotten? This isn't simply about money anymore, that much is clear. It's about heritage, truth, and reputation. And when all is said and done, hip-hop might not look the same.